So part 7 of the JoJo's Bizarre Adventure anime has been announced, and it is a very great time to be a JoJo fan.
Oh my god! Okay, it's happening! Everybody stay calm!
We know that Steel Ball Run will be coming out in 2026, but we still don't know how many episodes the anime is going to have, and we also don't know what the exact release schedule is going to be for this particular JoJo part. So in this video, I'm going to try and predict how many episodes Steel Ball Run is going to have. But firstly, I'm going to go through how the previous 6 JoJo parts were adapted by Jojo Production, in order to figure out how they will adapt the Steel Ball Run manga. So with the first part of Jojo, titled Phantom Blood, the story ran from volume 1 up to volume 5 of the manga, making it a total of 44 chapters. The anime version covered episodes 1 to 9, meaning that roughly 5 weekly chapters were adapted per episode. So this was actually a very fast-paced adaptation, where they had to cut out some manga content in the anime version. With the second part, Battle Tendency, the story ran from volumes 5 to 12 with a total of 69 chapters. In the anime, Battle Tendency was a total of 17 episodes, which wrapped up the first season of the JoJo's Bizarre Adventure anime. This meant that an average of 4 chapters were adapted every episode. When we look at part 3, Stardust Crusaders, the manga ran from volumes 12 to 28, with a length of 152 chapters. The anime version had a total of 48 episodes, which is still, to this day, the longest anime adaptation for a JoJo anime. And the Stardust Crusaders anime was also split into 2 parts, with each of them having 24 episodes. The first 24 episodes aired from April to September 2014, and then 4 months later, the second part aired from January to June of 2015. Because 48 episodes were adapted from the Stardust Crusaders manga, which had 152 weekly manga chapters, this meant that on average 3 chapters were adapted each episode. Moving on to part 4, Diamond is Unbreakable, the manga covered volumes 29 to 47, with a length of 174 manga chapters in total. The anime version aired for 39 episodes, so on average 4.5 chapters were adapted in every episode. So despite part 4 having more chapters than part 3, it ended up having less episodes than part 3 in total because they adapted more chapters each episode. And then for part 5 of the JoJo's anime, titled Golden Wind, this part covered volumes 47 to 63, with a total length of 155 chapters. The anime aired for 39 episodes, the same as Diamond is Unbreakable, despite it having significantly less chapters. This means that an average of 4 chapters were adapted per episode for the Golden Wind anime. Then finally, we have part 6, titled Stone Ocean, which is the latest anime adaptation of the JoJo's Bizarre Adventure anime. Stone Ocean covers volumes 64 to 80 of the manga, and it has a length of 158 chapters, which is similar in length to Golden Wind. The anime version had 38 episodes, which is slightly different to the usual 39 episodes we were getting from part 4 and part 5. Because 38 episodes were adapted from those 158 chapters, this meant that 4 chapters on average were being adapted for each episode. But unlike all the other JoJo parts, Stone Ocean was released as a batch release, and this was due to Netflix acquiring the distribution rights, instead of the weekly TV format we were used to from the previous JoJo parts. So the first season had 12 episodes, which was released on December 1st, 2021. Then the second season also had 12 episodes, and was released 9 months later on September 1st, 2022. Then the third and final season, which had 14 episodes, was released on December 1st, 2022. So after looking at how the 6 parts were adapted of JoJo, how will the anime adapt Steel Ball Run? So with part 7, we have confirmation that Netflix also holds the distribution rights for the Steel Ball Run anime. And I just have to address that just because it's going to be released on Netflix, it does not mean that it will be released in a batch like with Stone Ocean, because other anime series like Sakamoto Days, Dandadan, and One Piece's Egghead Island arc have released their episodes on a weekly basis, and these were all released after Stone Ocean ended, so there definitely is a good chance that Steel Ball Run could release its episodes weekly. So with the Steel Ball Run manga, the series ran for a total of 95 chapters, but its release schedule was different from the previous parts, and this was because Steel Ball Run was the first JoJo part to become a seinen series, when JoJo's Bizarre Adventure was mostly a shonen series releasing chapters weekly in Shonen Jump. This meant that on average, the page number per chapter was increased, because monthly manga chapters typically have at least double the amount of pages that weekly chapters do. Someone on Reddit actually counted all the pages of every JoJo part, including Steel Ball Run, and the average number of pages per chapter. So this will help us to project roughly how many episodes Steel Ball Run could have. With the previous parts of JoJo, which were released in weekly Shonen Jump, most of them had an average page number of around 20 pages, with the exception of Battle Tendency at 18.5 pages. But for the most part, this is typical for a weekly manga release. Now with Steel Ball Run, due to its transition to a monthly release, the average page number per chapter actually increased to 45.2 pages per chapter, which is more than twice the amount of pages the previous JoJo parts had. So because most of the JoJo parts were 20 pages on average adapted 4 chapters per episode, we can assume that Steel Ball Run with 45 pages on average will probably adapt around 1.78 chapters per episode. This means that if 1.78 chapters were adapted every episode on average, the Steel Ball Run anime could actually have around 53 episodes. But I think 52 episodes might sound more reasonable, because there are some seasonal anime that typically have that same amount of episodes. Or if you want around the 1.78 chapters per episode to 2 chapters per episode, then Steelbook Run will have around 47.5 episodes, or 48 episodes, which sounds more reasonable as well. Then that would mean Steelbook Run will have the same amount of episodes as the Stardust Crusaders anime, but I personally think that it's more likely that the Steelbook Run anime will have 52 episodes instead. So by looking at how the previous JoJo parts were adapted, and the increase in pages per chapter for the Steelbook Run manga, I think that 51 or 52 episodes will be the most likely bet for how many episodes I think the Steelbook Run anime will have. And if you want to see more anime content, please like and subscribe, and thank you so much for watching.